If you're starting an e-commerce business, packaging is something that's so important but easily overlooked. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my best e-commerce packaging tips I've learned over the past decade. Get ready to dive in deep with me on this episode of Step by Step. If you're new here, my name's Spencer. I'm the co-founder of Solo Stove, an e-commerce company that I started with my brother 10 years ago in a garage. Just in the first half of this year, Solo Stove has sales of over $150 million. Let me be clear here. I have absolutely nothing to sell you. I make these videos purely to share what I've learned to help the next generation of e-commerce entrepreneurs. No strings attached. I wish somebody did this for me, so I'm doing it for you. This video is part of my in-depth series I call Step by Step. These in-depth videos are for those that are serious about bootstrapping an e-commerce business. If that's you, click that subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. A lot of e-commerce founders get hung up on packaging. It's normal for founders to take pride in their product and spend a lot of time wrestling over packaging details for their product. But what I'd like to help you see is just how forgiving the e-commerce model can be on figuring out your packaging. One important principle to remember when you're bootstrapping your e-commerce company is to pick your battles wisely. There are so many things you want to do, but with limited resources, aka not a lot of money, you need to be careful not to spend where you don't need to. And I'd argue that early on, packaging isn't an area you want to spend a lot of money on. Because here's the reality. When people shop online, no one sees what your packaging looks like. When you shop at a retail store, packaging can make or break a sale, but online, it rarely ever influences the purchasing decision. It's just not part of the shopping experience. This is good news for you, because when you're starting out, you're usually ordering smaller quantities of products from your suppliers. And making custom packaging at the supplier level requires that you hit minimums, which are usually quite high. The printers just have setup fees and other fixed costs, so printing custom packaging in small runs can be expensive and just really difficult to get done. So how should you be thinking of product packaging early on? Think simple. Consider a white or a brown box with stickers. To me, this is an easy and potentially good-looking solution. So with that said, let me touch on a handful of other areas to think through regarding your packaging. First off, depending what you're selling, there's always the possibility that you can ship your product using the box you have your supplier put the product in, meaning you may be able to avoid having to put your box product into another box just for shipping. And this can save a ton of costs and make your shipping process a whole lot easier. Trust me, buying boxes, tape, and packaging material can add up quickly. So if you can design your packaging to double as your shipping box, this is a great way to save money and simplify your operations. You get an order, you print the label, and you stick it right on the box and out it goes. Just make sure there's enough blank space on your box for that label. We did this early on and it saved a ton of time and money, which leads me to the next point I want to make. Packaging dimensions. Packaging dimensions, or DIMs, they matter because one of your biggest company expenses will be shipping costs. And the cost to ship something is calculated by the packaging DIMs. The size and weight of your products will dictate how much it'll cost to get it shipped to you from your supplier, and also determine how much FedEx or UPS or USPS charges you when you ship your product to your customer. And when we're talking about shipping to your customer, you need to know the two ways carriers will calculate this. The first is by actual weight. This is simple. Buy a scale, weigh it, and round up to the next pound. That's the actual weight. The second method is a little bit more tricky. It's called dimensional weight. This is calculated by multiplying the length, width, and height of your box, then dividing by a set DIM divisor. This is a number set by the carriers. For UPS, the published retail DIM divisor at this time is 166. So if you have a box that's 8 inches by 15 inches by 20 inches, you multiply those three numbers to get 2,400. Then you divide by the DIM divisor 166, which gives you 14.5. Rounded up, that's 15 pounds. The carriers will take the greater of these two numbers, and that's your billable weight. So don't think that because your product is really light, it'll be cheap to ship. That's not how it works. So as you're designing your product packaging, Be checking to see how much it'll cost to ship, because if you can stay below certain actual weights and dimensional weights, you may be able to save a lot of money. For instance, USPS first class mail cuts off at 13 ounces. So if you're right on the edge of that, you may be able to design your packaging to help you stay under that weight and save a lot of money. Spend time to understand shipping rates and how they're calculated so you can design your product packaging with cost savings in mind. The next thing I want to share with you is how to actually design product packaging. If you've watched my other video on product design, you'll remember that we can learn from products that are already out there. So instead of designing from the ground up, I'm positive you can find packaging that's already out there in the stores that would work well for your products. You just have to look. And when you find some of those boxes that you like, buy those products so that you can send pictures, videos, and samples of the boxes you want to use to your suppliers. This is a great starting point. You could gather a number of boxes and piece together the elements of each box that you want combined into your own box. How the lid works or closes from one box, or the interior flaps of another. Maybe you like the style of the sticker from another box that's used to seal the lid shut. Maybe the thickness of the cardboard from another. Piece it together. Oh, and talking about sealing the lid shut with a sticker, that reminds me, here's a tip for you. If you think your product will be resellable after someone returns it, consider not making the packaging show any signs of use so that you can reuse it. If you close the box with a seal, it'll be cut, and you won't be able to use that packaging if you need to restock your product and resell it. Okay, moving on. Think through the inside of the box and whether or not anything needs to be put inside. I'm talking about bubble wrap, foam, craft paper, or any other structural support to protect the product. Again, look at existing examples of packaged products to give you ideas. For instance, if you have a ceramic mug, you may need to make some sort of cardboard base and cap inside the box that has cutouts so that the mug can stay centered and away from the sides of the box. You're trying to protect the product from getting damaged during shipping to your customer. Be sure to think through this. No one will be happy if your customer receives damaged goods. Keep drilling into the details. Think through whether your product needs to be in a plastic bag before being placed into its packaging. How will that bag be sealed? Tied in a knot, or do we close it with a twist tie? Will you need humidity absorbers in the bag, or maybe just in the box, or maybe not at all? If you live in a humid place, or if your product is sensitive to humidity, it's something to consider. Okay, after you've dialed in the dimensions, the packaging itself, and the details of what goes inside, it's now time to start thinking about how it'll be shipped to you from the supplier and stored. If your products are smaller, think through how many of your box products will go into a larger box for shipment to you from your supplier. I call these master cartons. Maybe you put 10, 20, 30 of your box products into this bigger box. Using master cartons makes transport easy and protects your products as well as the packaging. Think through how heavy it'll weigh. You don't want to be lifting 50-pound boxes. Keep it more manageable, maybe like 25 pounds. Think through how you'll store these boxes in your home or in your warehouse. If you have space constraints, it may dictate how you build out your master cartons. For instance, if you're paying for pallet space at a third-party warehouse, you may build out the size of the master cartons to maximize the space on a standard pallet and make sure that the boxes aren't hanging off the edges of the pallet, which can cause damage. Lastly, go through the details of master cartons and make notes. What carton markings do you want on the boxes? Do you want to list out your SKU, or maybe the quantities of what's inside? Perhaps you want to list the gross weight and the box dimensions on there. Maybe you need a barcode printed on the box. Do you want all the open edges sealed with tape? Do you want an extra sheet of loose cardboard on top before sealing to prevent blade damage when you or your workers open the box? Every detail matters, so think through it. Who knew product packaging had so much to think about, right? I actually really like product packaging. Having worked on it for so many years, I geek out about really well-designed product packaging. Okay, on to the next part of my e-commerce packaging tips, packaging design. When you start graphic design for your product packaging, whether you're ready for a full color box or any other printed packaging materials like inserts and stickers, here's what you need to know. You don't need to do this on your own. That is, unless you're a great graphic designer. And if you're like me, you'll need some help. I'd recommend you outsource the design work. You can find freelance designers all over the place, like on Upwork or even on Craigslist, or even locally in your community. Just try to use someone who has experience doing packaging design. What you'll need to start with are the die line drawings of your box. This is how your designer will know what it looks like and how it's cut. Get these from your supplier after you've worked on the dimensions and elements of your product packaging. They should be able to provide you with these files. Now, I'm not a professional graphic designer, but I do know that when your designer provides you with the final files, ask for the following. First, make sure all the files have all the images embedded in the file and not linked through folders. You just want to be able to send one file over to your supplier and not have a bunch of missing links. If this doesn't make sense to you, just talk about it with your designer. Second, in my experience, most printers, or at least the ones overseas in Asia that I've worked with, they work with AI or Adobe Illustrator. So ask for your files in that format. You'll also want everything outlined. Fonts especially. Outlining in AI means that everything becomes a picture, and it's not relying on a font file that your supplier might not have. Also know your designer will want everything in CMYK. Most packaging designers know this, but if they don't, that's a red flag. Remember to get a copy for yourself for safe storage, and I always ask for a copy in PDF so that I can open it and see it without having Adobe Illustrator. Remember to have your designer add in all the details you want, like made in country copy, as well as any barcodes. And if you don't know where to get barcodes, you need to visit GS1. They're the official barcode folks. Everyone else resells barcodes, and that can cause you a lot of pain in the future if your barcodes don't actually match your company name. So GS1 for barcodes. Then work through any other inserts or manuals, thank you cards, and so on. And that's pretty much the gist of getting your design done. To wrap this up, I have 4 little e-commerce packaging tips for you. And these golden nuggets could save you a lot of money and heartache, so pay attention here. The first tip is to remember to work with your supplier to get extra packaging and materials sent to you along with your first order of product. Have them flat pack it to you. Doing this will help you repack damaged boxes or any sellable returns. It's really inexpensive for them to get this to you, and it will save a ton of time and money. The second tip is that if you're starting off with really low volumes and you just don't have a lot of product, consider using Uline to get the boxes you need to package your product. Then consider just getting stickers domestically printed. If you're not ready to go big on packaging, don't do it. There are always options to start small. Remember, packaging isn't worth killing your company over. Thinking small and simple can get you through to the days where you can then level up your packaging game. Tip 3 is that USPS offers free priority boxes for you if you ship USPS priority. You can set up an online account and order them for free, delivered to your home for free. So if that method of shipping works for you, congrats, your boxes are free. The last bonus tip is that if you set up a UPS or FedEx account, these carriers can often provide you with free thermal shipping labels and a free thermal label printer. This can save you a ton in shipping expenses, so talk with them and save a lot of money. When it comes to e-commerce, packaging is a deceivingly small detail that a lot of people overlook. But when you realize your shipping is probably going to be your biggest company expense, you'll understand why I'm emphasizing it so much. I know I can't cover all the nuances of every type of physical good that you might be selling, but hopefully I've been able to get you thinking about the things that matter. E-commerce doesn't require killer packaging right off the bat, so keep it simple so you're able to get up and selling. And once you're up and going, then you can work on optimizing your packaging for cost, product protection, and design. Now go and work through your product packaging and ask me any questions you have in the comment section below. If you're looking for my other step-by-step videos, here's a link to the playlist. Thanks again for watching to the end. If you got value out of this video, hit the like button and remember to subscribe. Good luck, work hard, and I'll see you in the next video.